I want to talk about last year's draft for a brief bit with you, even though I know we're talking about the current draft and maybe the future draft based on your mock draft. But the reason why I want to bring up Desmond Ridder and Sam Howell to you is both Atlanta and Washington appeared to be saying, we're in on these guys we drafted last year instead of going for broke, literally and maybe figuratively, and literally on Lamar Jackson. So what about these two guys, Ridder and Howell, makes you think these are the right choices now? And I know there's cap choices, and I know that there's everything else with Lamar. He didn't finish the last 2 seasons. But these are two kids that got drafted in the second and, I believe, fifth round, respectively, by their teams last year. I mean, what was your knowledge about them coming in that makes you think, okay, they might be ready in 2023 with a huge amount of pressure based on what the teams didn't do to give them the opportunities this year?
I'm not sold on, on Desmond Ridder. I that one, it's like, he was pretty good in a lot of things. I don't, I think he ran faster than what people at the combine than I think what people saw on film. Mm-hmm. He was a really good player on a team that kept on getting better and better at Cincinnati. But I am a little hesitant on that one. I know Washington really likes Sam Howell, and he had a prolific career at UNC. But again, this is a guy who, as much as they liked him, they still took him in the 5th round. I think they're in a position where it's like, all right, we're going to give this year to say it's almost like a make or break year for you. And then if you do not wow us or do not sell us in the first 6 weeks of the season, we got to be looking and saying, I mean, if I'm Washington, I know, maybe ownership doesn't necessarily think like this, but if he does not convince you that he is going to be a franchise quarterback, you're doing everything you can to bring Caleb Williams, who is from Washington, D.C., home. And I think at that point you're saying, that's our guy. Because if you're them and you're looking and saying Will Levis, you're not taking Hendon Hooker in terms of if you're Washington.
Yes.
Because you need somebody to play now if you're going to take a quarterback.
Yeah, they're sitting at 16.
Yeah, so I in that regard, I don't know if Washington, do you do everything you can to move up in the top 4? I don't know what you're giving up at that point.
Lamar. You want to talk about somebody who's playing football in the Mid-Atlantic. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point. And they didn't even apparently twitch in that direction. And you mentioned ownership. It does appear, who knows, ownership may change. You want to talk about handing the keys to a Ferrari like, Ferris Bueller here. I mean, they've got Terry McLaurin. They've got Curtis Samuel. They've got Jahan Dotson, a whole bunch of, Big Ten players that are now becoming grown-ass men.
That's better skill talent than what Lamar has had.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying you take Lamar and you put him there, but Sam Howell is a guy that didn't have much talent around him in his senior year or his last year.
But he had a ton around him early in his career. Now, he was prolific, but the Lamar thing puzzles me too. And I had a conversation with somebody I know really well who is on one of these teams that needs a quarterback, I think. And this person is not a decision maker when it comes to that. Uh-huh. And I was just like, to me, go do everything you can to get Lamar. I mean, whether Lamar can be Lamar 5 years from now, maybe that's another conversation. But I just think if you want to be a Super Bowl contender, you add him into, you see what he has done, and he's still young. Like, he's not much older than Hendon Hooker. I mean, it's true. Like, I don't know what the math is on there. He might be a year and a half older than Hendon Hooker. I'm sure Twitter can explain why there's a lot of skepticism on Lamar and why you don't, I don't get. I think when you see what he's done in the NFL with what's been around him.
Yes.
I'm talking about franchise guy. I mean, I don't know. I think it would rejuvenate, a down, especially if you haven't won in a while. Get your fan base excited. He is an exciting player. I don't know. I don't understand why he is not getting treated the way I think he has earned it.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.